Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. We are live on YouTube. We are live on YouTube. How's everyone doing today? How are you all doing today? Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode number 823 of Walking with Purpose Live. Live today, once again, from Red Morton Park because the sun's going to be setting in about 30 minutes or so from now. Look at this. The future home of Redwood City YMCA. The YMCA is like about a mile down east. I used to go there in my younger days. It's an older building. And now I see what they're building over there by the swimming pool is not just like an Olympic sized pool, it is the new YMCA. Childhood Center or something. Wow. Veterans Memorial Building. Look at this. Jesus. Wow. That's going to make things interesting out here at the park because building this state of the art YMCA, you're going to get people coming from all over San Mateo County to come to this YMCA. And it's going to be a pain in the ass to do walks here. I'm going to cut across this way because if somebody's walking, letting their dog run on the lawn here, letting their dog run without a leash. Let's hope that this dog is courteous and well-mannered and doesn't attack innocent people just taking a nice walk at the park. Today, we're going to be talking about learning to accept things for what they are builds confidence. Learning to accept things for what they are builds confidence. You know, when you learn to accept things for what they are, especially things that are out of your control, like primarily the things that bother humans the most are things that are out of our control. And when you learn to accept those things and understand that you can only control so much and there are a lot of variables in life, you're going to be able to sleep a lot easier at night. You're going to have a lot less stress in your life. And if you don't already know, and common sense hasn't told you this already, or if you haven't heard it through many people or in many ways online as well, stress is a leading killer. Stress is something that will end your life sooner than you would expect it to. And learning to manage your stress is key to being healthy, happy, and successful. Now, I think all of us have struggled with managing our stress at times or throughout periods of our lives, or especially more so in our younger days where we're less experienced and we don't, like I said, we don't have enough experience. We haven't gone through as many mistakes as we have by the time we age to understand that certain things are just not worth stressing over. To be honest with you folks, at this point at 50 years old, nothing is worth stressing over. the key to minimizing or practically eliminating your stress is just learning to accept things in life. Learn to accept and understand that some things are what they are. They're out of your control. I've mentioned this phrase many times before, and I'm sure you've heard it. It is what it is, right? You've heard the phrase, it is what it is, right? You've also heard the phrase growing up, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, right? I've learned to live by those phrases because nowadays on the internet, people can say whatever the hell they want to say about you. And, it doesn't matter how vile it is, doesn't matter how strict the rules are of these social media sites. People will find ways to get nasty words out about you. Whoa. Wow. And I've grown to realize that people that do those types of things online are just seeking social proof. By basically trying to make other people look bad. And by doing that, they think it makes them look like a saint. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. My God, I really got to get out to these walks earlier. And I got to stop doing the walks at the park. It's just become almost unbearable to do these walks here. Like, look at over there. We've got, I think, Pop Warner football. The lot is full. They're doing construction. A lot more people are walking their dogs later in the evening. Whew, man. That's why the show is called Navigating the Modern World with Eli, right? I've been thinking about something. I want to mention this here. I've been thinking about something. I've been thinking about this for quite some time. Hi, Rhonda. Welcome to the show. Tomorrow, at some point in the morning or early afternoon, I will more than likely do a live stream from the main channel. Give me a second here. And make another major announcement. And I still have not fully decided if I'm going to do this or not. But I'm leaning more towards doing it. So keep it locked here to both channels. This is GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development, and then there's the main channel, GNA, Genuine Personal Development, where the pre-recorded content is at. But right now, I'm doing live streams from the studio there. for at least the next month or so, maybe a little bit longer. And the next stream will more than likely be tomorrow. Probably around 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Whenever that stream happens, whether it's tomorrow or the next day or sometime this week or over the weekend, I will more than likely be making a major announcement. And I think it's going to make things very interesting. Let's just put it that way. Hey, Tia, how are you doing today? What's up, Eli? Hey, not too much. What's going on with you, Tia? Today, Tia, we're talking about when you learn to accept things for what they are, that builds confidence. Because when you become accepting of pretty much anything, nothing phases you, nothing bothers you, nothing affects you, right? Tia says, I'm good. Well, that's great to hear. Thank you for that. Yeah, Dawn and I had a doctor's appointment to get to today, and all is well. We drove down to the Mountain View area. It's about a 25-minute drive there and back. We were there for about an hour and got back, and I picked up some clam chowder on the way back from a restaurant that makes nice clam chowder that Dawn loves. So I picked her up some clam chowder because she was already hungry. I typically will eat after these walks, or I typically eat later in the evening. Dawn likes to eat earlier. And as it gets darker sooner, these walks will be sooner and they'll be earlier. And, then her and I will be eating about the same time. We typically will eat at the same time even during this time of the year, but sometimes Dawn gets hungry and can't wait till I'm done with these walks, and no worries. It is what it is, But all is well. And thank you for being here, Tia. Yeah, been a part of these YouTube streets for many years. I've been a part of social media for many years on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, which is now X, and even Reddit. I've been a paid member supporting Reddit. I really love Reddit for many years. And I've seen so many nice and decent people just react and overreact because other people that like to antagonize people on purpose for their reactions, and that's how they try to build their internet fame, by antagonizing other people, right? And getting reactions. There are many people on the internet that intentionally antagonize people to see how much they can, crawl under their skin, or, how much they can trigger that person or upset that person, right? And I mention this because a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are antagonizing people on purpose as a form of their content. And the victims of these just ridiculous creators, they don't even realize what's going on. They're just trying to be nice, average, everyday, decent people just contributing to the conversation, right? And I used to be one of those people that didn't understand when it first started happening to me 6, 7 years ago out here on YouTube. I didn't realize what was going on. And I always felt the need to defend myself and argue these people that were saying these things or trying to poke the bear and this and that. And when I finally realized that whether I ignore certain people or not that may be trying to antagonize me, that's not what really matters. What matters is how I feel deep within. Because here's the thing. If you want to talk about something or someone or people antagonizing you, suit yourself. As long as you know what's going on and you understand that this is not a battle you're going to ever win. This type of battle wasn't intended for either side to win. This type of battle was intended to keep a back and forth going. So that way you get the attention of an audience that likes this type of content and likes to support it monetarily, right? And when these situations happen, from my experience, both sides can monetize it, but typically there's one side that is going to monetize it more so than the other. One side is going to more so exploit the other side than the other, right? There's always one side that's willing to take risks that the other side isn't willing to take, right? Because in order to make this type of content, you've got to ride the lines of what's allowed on these platforms, right? You ride the lines of the community guidelines, and other terms of service violations, right? So again, whether you respond or not, that's not the point. The point is how you feel deep within, and do you understand and accept the situation? That's what really matters, right? When you learn to accept things for what they are, right? And you just say, like I said earlier, like you say it is, or you say it is what it is, which is what I'm trying to say. When you just say, hey, you know what, it is what it is, right? This is stupid. And, some people are so antagonistic that they just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, right? And they just never, ever, 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 ever stop, no matter what, right? As long as you understand deep within what's going on, whatever you choose to do is at least not going to affect you emotionally or mentally or spiritually, or throw you off of what you're trying to create for yourself and the people that you're creating for. I've never seen these many people at Red Morton Park. I think for several years, the reason why I was so quiet was probably due to COVID. Wow, these lots are full. Give me a second here. So when you get to a place where you just accept things and you understand things, right? And you realize that most things that people may be saying about you is horseshit, it won't bother you. It won't faze you. You won't even feel the need to react to it anymore than you already may have reacted to it, right? Now, here's the other thing. This is the one part of social media that I don't like. Is that, sometimes you have people that support you, even support you monetarily, and then they try to pay you money to antagonize other people, right? To try to retaliate for things that other people may have done, right? And I want to come out here today and say this. There's no need to retaliate. There's no need to go to a YouTuber's channel and try to force someone to trash talk someone else and incentivize them with money. Now, I'm not speaking about anyone in general, okay? So I don't want anyone getting upset here. But hey, whatever will be, will be. I can only be true to myself and be honest, right? But I've seen many people, and it's interesting. The interesting thing to me is this. I see men doing this. Middle-aged men are doing this, right? I hardly see any women behave like this. Like I've never seen women, on the internet try to pay other women to trash talk another woman, right? I've never seen that. But when it comes to men, middle-aged men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? And we're talking about primarily millennial men. And some Gen Z men, right? I believe Gen Z is 28 and under now. Or 27 and under or something like that, right? Yeah, I think it's 28 to 43. I think it is millennial, right? Under 28 is Gen Z. It's primarily millennial men and some of the Gen X men. Not all the Gen X men, but some of the Gen X men. I'd say about half of the Gen X men, or maybe a third of the Gen X men, are behaving just like a lot of these millennial men. A lot of these men are very, they're very miserable deep within. They're unsatisfied within themselves, because that's the only reason why any man would behave in this way, right? People that are satisfied in life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, they have a good life partner, all that. Men that have all that don't behave the way these men behave, right? They don't, right? And I understand a lot of these men didn't have the best upbringing. A lot of these men grew up seeing their parents do certain things that traumatized them, right? I'll just say many different things, right? Not one thing specifically, right? A lot of these men growing up did not have a strong father figure. Even if the father was in the picture, the mother was the one calling the shots and wearing the pants. And that's going to confuse a little boy at a young age. And as he gets older, he's going to take away more feminine traits and feminine characteristics and fewer masculine characteristics, because if his dad isn't acting manly, then how's he going to learn to be a fucking man, right? That's what we're dealing with nowadays. What we're dealing with, and I hate to say this, I don't even want to be critical. I don't want to attack anyone. I want to help people turn this around. And you millennial men can turn this around. But the problem is the way you were raised was not with enough masculine energy. You did not have a strong enough father in the picture. I did. I had a very strong father, but he was very loving too. And my mother was very nurturing. And she was strong too, but she was more feminine than masculine. Nowadays, you've got these little boys growing up with a mother that's acting like a man and a father that's acting like a woman. So the polarity's flipped and these boys are fucking confused. So can you blame them for turning out the way they did? Can you really blame them for turning out the way they did? I've talked about this before. I'll share it again. And I'm sharing this again because what I'm saying even to you guys, you can all turn it around. You can all change and turn it around. A lot of the behaviors of these men, let's just say primarily 28 to 43 millennial, right? Now, some of them are a little bit younger than that in the Gen Z generation, and some are a little older in the Gen X generation. So if I had to give an age group of where I see a lot of these men struggling, it's typically men around 25 to 55. Men between 25 and 55 that I see online, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Reddit, a lot of these men are behaving the same way. They're behaving very immaturely. They're saying dumb shit. They're very insecure, right? They lack discipline. They lack emotional self-control, right? And why is that? Because they took more after their mother's characteristics, because their mother was more so wearing the pants or raising them more than their father, or their father just wasn't in the picture, right? That's the truth of the matter, right? That is the truth of the matter. I'm going to wait a second here. But it's never too late to turn things around. It's never too late to dig deep and look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm really tired of being this way. I'm really tired of having to put on this big front for acceptance, or trying really hard to seek acceptance, right? Because a lot of these men, 25 to 55, the way I see them behave out here on the internet, not just YouTube, a lot of other places like I mentioned, a lot of these men are desperately seeking acceptance and relevancy with the things that they say and do. And you can turn that around. You can turn that around. It's as simple as you just saying, "Hey, I don't want to live my life this way anymore. I don't want to do dumb shit anymore that gets me stereotyped and labeled, for example, as a spoiled, entitled millennial," right? You hear the phrase spoiled, entitled millennial. There are many of them, right? If you're tired of that phrase, or if that phrase triggers you, it only would trigger you if it's true, right? Because if it wasn't true, it wouldn't bother you, right? If you were not a spoiled, entitled millennial, it would not bother you when people would call you that, right? So, my advice to all millennials out there, whether you're a male or a female, because there are spoiled, entitled millennial females too. It's not just the men, but the men are worse. The men in the millennial generation are the absolute. Not all of them. There are some good ones that support us here. And listen, there's always an exception to every rule. ODN with the $5 super chat. How you doing, brother? ODN with the $5 super chat. He's back. Thanks for not being a soy boy like most millennials. Well, saying the soy boy thing is another way of saying a lot of these men have more female characteristics than masculine characteristics. I'm not talking about physically necessarily. I'm talking about personality-wise, the way they behave, their lack of emotional self-control, right? Their lack of personal maturity, right? Their lack of social skills, right? Thank you again, ODN, for your $5 super chat. ODN, I know some people get upset when you get donations. LOL makes the show better. Yeah, but here's the thing, ODN. With lots of love and respect, please don't feel the need to donate to try to upset other people. I know you're being supportive here too, man. And listen, dude, I respect the shit out of you, dude. I do. I respect the hell out of you. But I don't want you to feel the need to spend your money to try to prove a point that doesn't need to be proven, dude. We all know the truth of the matters, right? But listen, I'm not going to tell a man how to spend their money. I'm just saying, like, I'm cool with you being here without you having to donate. But I do respect and appreciate it. I really do. So, to those men, roughly around 25 to 55, that's where I've seen most of the problems, right? That's where I've seen most of the problems. You guys can turn this around. But you first have to get to a place of where you just accept things for what they are. You just got to say, hey, maybe I didn't have the best upbringing. Yeah, maybe my mother was a little bit more the masculine one and my father was the feminine one, right? And maybe that fucked me up a little bit, right? Well, probably fucked you up a lot, but the point of the matter is, you can still turn it around. You should still love your parents and accept who they are. But you gotta take care of yourself too, and you gotta learn to understand why a lot of you guys turned out to be the way you are and why you're behaving the way you're behaving nowadays, right? And with the internet the way it is, and I mean, we literally have fiber connections to our homes nowadays, like I do, gig up and a gig down. Like we have enormous amounts of internet bandwidth. We've got cameras to go live. We've got nice microphones. Like I've got a studio in my place I built out over the last several years. Like we literally can broadcast like a television station from our own homes. So I mentioned that because all of these people all these people in the past that were suppressed and stuck at home with nothing to do are now using the internet to project their massive insecurities. It's a massive projection of insecurities because of the way they were raised. These men were raised to be more feminized, right? Real men do not do the things that these men do. They don't. I don't care what they say. They don't. Oh, Deanne, I got your back. Don't worry about it, dude. Let me tell you, Deanne, the good people that come here are taken care of in every way. You know that. I got your back. I always have, ODN. So, and here's the thing, right? Like I said, all these men have to do is learn to understand what happened, how it's affecting them, how it makes them come off, and then they just look in the mirror and say, I've fucking had enough. I'm no longer going to act out because I didn't have the proper guidance from my parents growing up. I wasn't fortunate enough to have the best parents as role models. That's a huge fucking problem. It is. I had 2 great role models. I had not only 2 great parents, I had 4 great grandparents. I had a bunch of great aunts and uncles. My aunt on my dad's side, my God. My Aunt Lisa. Who's having surgery right now, and she's doing fine. I mean, that woman is a strong, successful, incredible woman. Mad respect for my aunt, right? But not only does she get the job done and she's made good money and she's run her own business for decades successfully, being a licensed cosmetologist. She's like retired now, but she still will do some hair from home. She takes care of certain clients, including my mother. And I just shave my head, so I don't need her services. Much love to your aunt. Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, she's done well. And she got divorced when my cousin Kia was really young, and she had to raise Kia. But my aunt, she has a great balance between masculine and feminine energy. My aunt is very feminine. But if you mess with her, if you fuck with her, she'll whoop your ass. To this day, she will. Right? It's called discipline, right? And that's the difference in what I got and my brother got and my cousin Kia, which is my dad's sister's daughter. That's what my aunt, that's what my cousin Kia got and my brother and I got. We got tough love. A lot of these kids nowadays are not getting tough love. They're getting coddled. And the funny thing is, their parents are still coddling them right now. A lot of millennials between the age of, I think, 28 and 43 are still being coddled as adults. So how the fuck are they ever supposed to learn responsibility? Learn to be a better person? Become more mature? Become more understanding and reasonable? How are they supposed to turn things around when their parents to this day still coddle them? I know many millennials, men and women, that are being coddled to this day. And I'm saddened by it because what happens when we're all not around to save their ass, right? Because when someone is coddled, that means someone is saving their ass. What happens when the people that are saving your ass are no longer around? Sure, you might get their estate or whatever, but at some point, if you don't continue to make money or be able to do enough on your own, you're going to lose that, right? You're going to lose that. And after that, you people that have been coddled all your life are going to have nothing to fall back on. What do you do then? Is that when you start to become humble? When you've exhausted all of your options of the way that you've lived your life for the first 28 to 43 years? By doing dumb shit to make ends meet, or by your parents coddling you and bailing you out every fucking time you fuck up? Are you going to learn responsibility before it's too late? Or is it going to come crashing down the road when it really counts? You've all got to get to the place of where you just don't let shit bother you. You got to learn to accept things for what they are. And that's going to build your confidence. You see, a lot of these middle-aged millennials, and some of them are not middle-aged yet, but they're getting there. A lot of these millennial men, 28 to 43, or let's just say middle-aged men, let's just say men between 25 and 55, where I see the problem. A lot of these men are struggling internally. They're struggling for acceptance. They're struggling to feel relevant. They're struggling to feel successful. Tia says, they need to learn to communicate without a phone. Many would be so uneasy. Yeah, no, I understand, Tia. I mean, these smartphones have changed everyone. But I think the problem with these middle-aged men, and listen, some of the women have issues too, but this is more so the men. Another reason why the men are struggling is because women have been empowered, and now women are out earning men 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. Like right now, about 1/3. It used to be 30%. It's like a little more, like 33%. It's like 1/3 of the households here in the U.S. The breadwinner is the woman, is the wife or the woman. That's staggering, right? And if you think about it, there's what, 350 million people here around that in the US. And if we say 100 million of them are children, right? Let's just say 150 million of them are children. 200 million of them are adults, right? And let's say 50-50 men and women. Let's say there's 100 million adults and women. Men and women adults, right? So if we take 33% of those women, that's like 33 million households in the U.S. where there's a man involved. There's either a spouse or a husband or whatever, right, involved. The woman is the breadwinner. So a lot of these men, they don't want a woman to out earn them. They can't stand being beaten by a girl. And I can understand that to a certain extent. But how did these men let it get to that point? My question also is, why do some women get with men that are making 1/3 of what they're making? Well, maybe it has to do with these men are good looking and these women are overweight or unattractive. There are many reasons, right? There's a lot of weird shit happening between men and women nowadays, and it's really messing things up, and it's just causing chaos all over the internet, right? You're seeing all this stuff, and people are using it as content because they're like, my life's so fucked up, I'm never going to amount to anything, so why not just put my fucked up life on YouTube and monetize it, right? And that's what these people do. They monetize their fucked up life on YouTube, right? And then after a while, when they get the hang of it, they try to attack other people they want to be like and kick them down to their level because they're feeling this superiority complex, right? Which all stems back to their massive insecurities, right? That's what it boils down to. Now, if you guys want me to do one more lap, put a 1 in the chat. Because it is starting to get dark, but there's enough light out. There's a bright moon. I think there's a full moon, and we have the lights. So put a 1 in the chat if you want me to do a third lap. We are at 48 minutes. They need to learn to communicate without a phone. They would be so uneasy. Yeah, I already read that. Thank you so much to the 34 people that are here. And again, thank you, ODN, to you for your $5 super chat. TS says it shouldn't matter. If you have self-worth and are secure, make it work. Yeah. TS says 1. Yeah, well, a lot of these middle-aged men, and some a little less than middle-aged, 25 to 55 T, a lot of them, again, just didn't have the best upbringing. They had more of a feminine role model as a father and more of a masculine role model as a mother, right? So again, it becomes massively confusing, right? And it creates social awkwardness. And then a lot of these millennial men or men 25 to 55, they feel like they're social outcasts. Like I have seen over the last 6+ years out here on YouTube, I've encountered so many men, primarily millennial men, but some from the Gen Z generation and some from even my generation, right? Because some of the men from my generation are acting like millennials, especially the ones closer to the border, right? Especially the ones that are like 44 to 55 or so, right? I'm just one that doesn't behave that way. I'm the one that was raised with traditional, old fashioned, old school values. And I had a strong masculine father and a strong but nurturing and loving feminine mother. And they were a great team. And my parents had a great support system through their families, which is our family, right? Family is very important, folks. Having a good family and coming from a good family is going to make you or break you. You can tell the people by the way they behave and carry themselves, even on YouTube or any part of the internet. You can tell the people that had a great upbringing, had great family and great parents, and the ones that didn't. You can tell. Final lap. No more appointments this week for Dawn. Tia says, I noticed that too. I'm a baby boomer and a large family. We had issues with 11 kids, but we had a great upbringing. Well, that's why you turned out the way you did, Tia. Is because of the nurturing love you got from your family. Give me a second, I'll be right back. All right, we are back live. We should be back live. All right, let me move up the side because somebody's coming. Tia says, I notice X is acting like millennials. Not to knock them, but it has become messed up the way the family unit is. Yeah, you're right about that. I think a lot of what the millennials ended up becoming was started by some of the Gen Xers. It was already starting to happen with the Gen X generation. Now, the Gen X generation wasn't as bad, but basically they were like, they basically were like the initial millennials, right? Some of them. Not a lot of, not as much as is happening with the millennial generation, but yes, I've come across a lot of Gen X men on this platform that are very, very socially awkward, um, very emotionally unstable, very emotionally reactive and overreactive, and that's not masculine energy. Now, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with men having emotions, which is what I'm trying to say. But there is a point where, you know, it's a problem. There's a point where a man being too emotional is emotionally unhealthy and unstable, right? And the threshold, in my opinion, from what I've learned and what I've seen, is different for men and women. Obviously, women are more emotional beings. You know, they're going to have 2 to 3 times the normal threshold of being emotional than a man. You got to understand that's just a part of a woman's natural biology. But here's the funny thing nowadays, Tia and ODN and anyone else that's here, is that the millennial women are like the new men. They're stronger than their men. The millennial women are able to more so contain their emotions than the millennial men. The millennial men overreact like female dogs. And the millennial women have the strength that men should have emotionally. So like we're really seeing a huge shift here in masculine and feminine energy. We're looking at women becoming the head of the household and men being the, what do you call it? Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Women are being the becoming the head of the household, and men are just there. Yeah, the pushover. That's a good way to put it, Tia. The pushover. Right? And these men can turn things around. Because here's the thing, Tia and Odie and everyone else, in my younger days, I was just like the way these millennials are behaving today. In my teens and maybe early 20s, I behaved that way. By the time I hit my mid 20s, I realized, man, this is not the most mature way to live. Like, I got to grow the fuck up, right? I never had any problem getting dates, but I was like wondering why women wouldn't stick around past 1 or 2 dates. And I had to dig deep and realize it's the way I'm showing up lacking personal maturity, right? Now, women don't want you to be a boring boring guy and a dud, which is what I'm trying to say. But you can be a funny, fun, outgoing guy and still have personal maturity. And you got to have your limits. Some people like to call those boundaries. I really hate that word boundaries. I hate that word boundaries because my girlfriend's daughter uses that word to set boundaries on her own mother, and that really pisses me off because Dawn's always been a great and supportive mother. What you said before rang true to me because my wife can be very emotional sometimes. Well, that's a pretty obvious statement. I know you're trolling, sir. What else do you have to say? I mean, that's a pretty generic statement. What else do you have to bring to the conversation? 18 or 1 bill or whatever. Tia, can you look and see when that channel was started? I bet it was started within the last 5 minutes or so. Just agreeing with you that women are naturally more emotional than men. Okay. So you wanted to make a comment on that? I'm going to find out when your channel was started, and then we'll decide if you're trolling or not. Tia, check out to see 3 minutes. Go ahead and get rid of them because they are trolling. Sir, get the fuck out of here. And go back to doing your own thing. And fuck off, okay? You created a new sock account just to chat here 3 minutes ago? God, how stupid do you think I am? All I'm going to say is this: more copyright strikes are coming. Lots of them. You know, sometimes the best thing to do is to keep your mouth shut. And to strike when it's least expected. Tia, can you look and see when Invisible Ray was started? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no. It's all good. All right. Jesus Christ. All right, can you hear me, folks, again? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Be right back. All right. All right, we should be back live. We should be back live. Sorry about that. I had to check my battery real quick. TS says, yeah, I think he's still trolling, but go ahead and unban Invisible Ray and let's see how they behave. It's all good. You know, here at the GNA, the Genuine Networking Association, or GNA for short, we are behavioral experts, specialists, in our opinion. That doesn't mean we're not a licensed psychologist. We're not a doctor or anything. We just understand human behavior. So we're YouTube behavioral experts, right, Tia? We are YouTube behavioral experts. YBAs. Sorry, YBEs, I mean, YBEs. Yep, that we are. So, Invisible Ray, how did you find out about the channel, honestly? Be honest, Invisible Ray. We're just curious. Just having a friendly chat. Be honest. Be honest, even if you found out about us in ways that we wished you hadn't. Be honest, because there's a reason why we ask. Invisible Ray. Invisible Ray, we're going to give you like 3 minutes to answer that question. If not, we will reban you. So please, a little motivation to respond to the actual question, Invisible Ray, and be honest about it. Because if you're here for the right reasons, you'll have no problem answering that, Invisible Ray. All right, so we've gotten about 2.5 laps done. We're on the second half of the third lap. So yeah, to remind you folks once again, tomorrow on the main channel, GNA, Genuine Personal Development. Tomorrow on the main channel, live at some point between the morning and afternoon, I'm going to be making more than likely a major announcement. And it's something that I've been contemplating for a little while, and I really started thinking about it today. Oh my God. I had to mute that because some young Gen Zer is sitting there blaring, some white dude's blaring some ghetto bass. He's got like 212s in his little POS car, tinted windows, and he's trying to act all cool. He's at that age where he's like, man, I got to do this dumb shit and act all gangsta to feel acceptance and relevancy, right? Hey, listen, I understand. We've all done dumb shit in our younger days. I used to feel like my first Mustang convertible, putting the top down. I used to think that was the chick magnet mobile. Now, the women loved the car, but the car didn't get the girl. You got to understand. The car helps, but it's not going to land you the girl. And any woman that's going to get with you for your car or your money is not with you for the right reason anyway, right? You want a woman to really be into you, right? But back in those days, you're like, man, I want to get the 5.0 Mustang GT convertible, put the top down, drop the top, right? Rolling in my 5.0 with my rack top down so my hair can blow. man. I had a Mustang too. Yeah, I had two Mustangs. I had a 4.6 that I got in 98. I had it for a long time. And then I had a 5.0 that was stolen at Costco less than a year after I got it. But when I had that car initially, I loved that car. I got a 1991 Mustang 5.0 GT convertible in 1994 with like 35,000 miles on it or something like that for $11,000. They were asking 14, and because my dad used to sell cars, he might have still been selling cars in those days. We went to the lot together, and I got that car for $11,000. It was a hell of a deal. Car ran great, was in great shape, but they didn't have the anti-theft systems that the newer cars had, so it was stolen at Costco. While I was at work, I had it parked in the back. Well, then I got a 98 Mustang GT convertible, and they made them a 4.6 instead of a 5.0. Now, I think they're back to making 5.0s again, but back then they made the engine a little bit smaller. I guess trying to make it a little more fuel efficient, which it didn't really make a difference. I think my 5.0 used to get better gas mileage than the 4.6. But anyway, yeah, the car is only going to get you so far. I mean, Tia says, my husband had a 69 Roadrunner lime green. Oh, so he was a car guy, huh? Invisible Ray, you still have not answered the question. How did you find out about the channel, Invisible Ray? Invisible Ray, how did you find out about the channel? 2 more minutes, Invisible Ray, or I will personally remove you. You didn't answer the question, Invisible Ray. I tried, it doesn't register. You tried to tell me how you found out about the channel, but it won't go through. Did you find out about it through another person? How about you put the first letter of the person's name that you found out about this channel from, Invisible Ray, before I personally ban you? Don't be shy, Invisible Ray. We're not dumb shits over here. We're very professional, but we're not dumb shits either. Oh, you won't even say his actual letter of his first name. You'll say the group, right? The L group for losers, right? Right? So you found about me from the loser group. The loser legion, right? Have a nice time, Invisible Ray. Invisible Ray, it's going to eventually get old. Just put it to you that way. But it doesn't matter. Go back to the loser legion, okay? So, yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to work on the next few days. There's a lot of stuff coming with my organization, the Genuine Networking Association, or GNA for short. We are the original GNA since 2011. And we've got some some very exciting news that we're more than likely going to announce tomorrow. Because I'll tell you this, folks, change is always inevitable. And sometimes, you You tried things out. You tried things out, and sometimes the results aren't what you expected, right? And when the results aren't what you expected or what you would have hoped for, you try something else. So tomorrow at some point, live from the main channel, G&A, Genuine Personal Development, live from the studio. Haven't done an in-studio stream in weeks. I miss my Shure SM7B mic. I'm sure it misses me too. I'll be on probably for about an hour or so and making this announcement and probably talk about a few more things. Senator Palacio got back to me today behind the scenes, and she's totally open to doing a pre-recorded interview. I'm going to get that on the books with you, Sandra. I'll get back to your message later tonight or tomorrow morning, and we'll get that on the books. Again, these pre-recorded interviews are just about, you know, your experiences being on social media and YouTube. How has the internet changed your life from your younger days? Like Sandra, you're around my age and Don's age. So, you know, we were living life pre-internet era. And now we're living the internet era. How is it different? How is our generation different than the ones after us? You know, stuff like that. You know, I really want to get your opinions. I want to get more opinions from more people. Because the more people that we get opinions from, you know, the more we can really figure out what's going on and more so help people. There, I want to turn on the front camera and the front light. Give me a second, be right back. Get your final questions, comments, or concerns in the chat. We're going to be going off the air very, very soon. Tia says, loser said, okay, I mean, I don't really care. I don't really care, Tia. We're not here to cater our content to one person or one group of people. We cater the content here to the masses, to the people that truly want the help. And if some people want to continue to be fixated on us and regurgitate the same shit that's years old, so be it. All right, folks. I'm getting super hungry. I haven't eaten that much today. I'm trying to eat a little more healthier. Or a little more healthy. Oh, Deanne, thank you so much for your $5 PayPal donation earlier tonight. Much love, much appreciation. We are at 80 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, 33 people in the box. Have a great night, Eli. Take care, everyone. Yeah. So, yeah, tomorrow, major announcement. Major announcement. And, yeah, um, we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Have a good one. Oh, exciting? Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Tia. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.